Hello students, our today's topic is electric flux. Now before we move on to the electric flux, we have to understand the area of any plane. Now as far as mathematics is concerned, area is a scalar quantity. So in 10th you have seen that there was no direction of any area vector. But when we deal with the electric flux, the orientation of the plane or area play an important role. How a plane is oriented in the electric field lines. In the simple terms, electric flux will give you the measure of the strength of an electric field. So it is simply a measure of the strength of electric field. Now how you can measure the strength of electric field? By the concept of electric flux. Now let us consider a plane like this. Here, if I say this is the length of a rectangle, then it is along the y-axis. And if this is the breadth, it is along the z-axis. If we want to find out its area, we simply say the length and the length multiplied by breadth. But here we want to make this plane having a area in a specific direction. That is, we want to make area a vector quantity. Now how it is done? Area vector A is written as L vector cross B vector. This is the cross, not a multiplication sign. Now if I see the diagram, the length is along the y-axis. So it can be written as length, magnitude, and the direction is denoted by j cap. Similarly, the breadth is along the z-axis. So magnitude and the direction is k cap. Now this can be written as the product of length and breadth, and we know j cross k. It will give you I. So the direction of the area vector is along the x-axis. So I take this a vector along the x-axis. So this is how the area vector is found with the help of a diagram, or simply you see this. A normal to this plane is an area vector. Now let us change the orientation of this plane. Now if I orient this rectangle like this, now this is the length and it is the breadth. So length is along x-axis, breadth is taken along z-axis. So directly I am writing A vector is equal to Li cap cross Bk cap. Now this is again equal to the product of length and breadth, and I cross K is j cap. So the direction of area vector comes out to be along the y-axis. So this is how a plane orientation will play an important role in calculation of an electric flux. Now both rectangle have same length, same breadth, but the orientation is in such a way that the area vector here is along the x-axis and area vector for this diagram is along the y-axis. Also, both these area vectors are normal to the plane. So if you want to find out the area vector of any plane, simply suppose this is a plane. The normal to this plane will always give you the area vector. Now normal can be along the y-axis, or its normal can be along the negative y-axis. That we can determine by this formula. If I keep this plane like this, the area vector can be taken along the x-axis or along the negative x-axis. So area vector is always normal to the plane, that is coming outward or going inward. That direction can be determined by this cross product. So if the orientation will change in our topic, the electric flux will also change. Now come to our main topic, electric flux. Let us consider a uniform electric field. Now if you remember, the pictorial representation of electric field are called electric field lines, and the electric field lines drawn equidistant and parallel to each other is the uniform electric field. So I am drawing this electric field lines along the x-axis. Now this electric field lines are taken along the x-axis. Now we have to orient a plane in this diagram. So suppose the orientation of the plane is like this. Again, the length is along the y-axis, the breadth is along the z-axis. So area vector should be along the x-axis. Now electric field is also along the x-axis. Now what is an electric flux? In very simple term, it is the number of field lines passing through a unit area. Now how the unit area is held, or how the unit area is oriented, or how a unit area is kept. Now here the unit area is kept in such a way that a plane is perpendicular to the electric field lines. So this is our plane. Now the flux is denoted by the symbol phi. This is the symbol for the electric flux. Now if I consider a small element of this plane, this small element of the plane is called area vector, and now normal to this area element we denote a area vector by delta S vector. This is a small piece of this entire plane sheet. So if we consider a room, a small tile in it is an area element. So similarly we have considered a small tile like element which is generally referred as area element denoted by delta S. Now if we want to find out the flux for this diagram, it can be simply delta phi is equal to E delta S. Now this is the formula. We will later come to the general formula. For the time being, all the field lines passes through this unit area. So if I count the number of field lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, there are 7 field lines. All the field lines are seen passing through a area which is held normal. Now also you have to remember, the numbers are not important, the density is important. So that we have discussed in electric field lines. So if the density of the field line is more passing through a unit area, the strength is more. Here we are trying to find out the number of field lines passing through this unit area. For example, I have drawn 7 lines. All these 7 field lines are passing through a unit area because the area is held in such a way that the area vector and E vector are in the same direction. Now this is the electric flux linked with a small element. If I want to find out the total flux, I will do the summation of all the small elements of this plane sheet. Or if there are infinite plane sheet in such a way that delta S tends to 0 or the area elements are very small, then we do the integration of this equation. So that we will see later on. Now let us change the orientation. This orientation can also be drawn like this. If I consider this length or this line, I can represent it like this. So this is your delta S vector and E vector are in the same direction. In other words, I can say theta is equal to 0 degree, where theta is angle between S vector and E vector. So this line is drawn here to understand the direction of area vector and E. Now I change the orientation. Now again, the electric field lines are same as before, and it is along x-axis, again it is along x-axis. Now I have to change its orientation, and this diagram can also be represented like this way. Suppose this is the line, this line is oriented like this. Let us see how this diagram can be drawn. Now this is the orientation has been changed. Now for this, the area vector should always be normal to the surface. This is my area vector now. So if I consider this as a small element, and this is your electric field, the plane is inclined at an angle theta. So this is delta S vector, or here it can be drawn. Now this is a small element, delta S vector. This is your E vector, and theta is angle between E vector and delta S vector. So let us try to understand this diagram with the help of this notebook. In this first diagram, clearly it should be understood that the field is along along the x-axis, from this side to this side. Now area is held like this, or the plane is held normal to the field line. So this is my field lines. Now if I want to find out the direction of the area vector, it should be always normal to the surface. So area is along this axis, area vector is along this axis, and my field is also along this axis. So I have written theta is equal to 0. And in this case, if I keep like this, all the field lines are passing through this unit area. Now let me change the orientation. Now this is the case. I make this orientation like this. Now area vector should be normal. So it is drawn upward like this, because the orientation has been changed like this. And the field is along x-axis. So the angle is theta. Clearly you will be able to see that here all the field lines were passing through this unit area, which was a unit area we are taking. For the same area, if you see the number of field lines, these two field lines are not passing through this unit area because we have changed the orientation. Let theta is equal to 30 degree. Now your flux linked with this plane surface or through this shade should be less than E delta S. So let us see the third diagram also. Again, I am considering the electric field lines along the x-axis. This is the third orientation. Now, this was the first orientation. This was the second orientation. Now this is the third orientation. If I orient this plane sheet or the surface, then the area vector should be normal. So area vector drawn is upward along the y-axis, as we have seen before in the introductory part. So now if I orient this surface like this, the area vector, or if I take this a small element, this is delta S vector, and the field is again along the x-axis, so the angle becomes 90 degree. If I draw this diagram, now if I take this line or this line, the area vector is along the y-axis and the field is along the x-axis, and angle becomes 90. Now in this orientation, none of the field lines will pass. So what is your observation? As I keep on increasing the angle between delta S vector and E vector, the flux linked keeps on decreasing. And in this case, if I keep like this, area vector is perpendicular to the surface and the field line is along the x-axis. None of the field lines will pass through it. So here theta is 90 degree. So I change the orientation from 0 degree to 90 degree, and what I observe is that as theta increases, the number of field lines passing through this area keeps on decreasing. So our general formula for this flux should be 0. Delta phi should be 0 for a small element. And this is the maximum flux, this is the minimum flux. So when the flux is minimum, when the angle is 90 degree, and when the flux is maximum, when the angle is 0 degree. So what about this? So the flux linked with this area element should be in between maximum and minimum. Minimum and maximum. The value should be in between, and the value is decreasing. It becomes from maximum to minimum. Now, if we take the trigonometric function where if angle increases, its value keep on decreasing, then it is a cos theta. So this can be written as E delta S cos of 30 degree. If I take an example of 30 degree. Now cos 30, it is root 3 by 2. So the number of field lines will be less than this, but more than this. If I take 60 degree again, then the number of field lines will further decrease. So the electric flux depends on E vector, S vector and angle between these two vectors, and so our general formula for the electric flux becomes E delta S cos theta. So we now come to the definition of electric flux, and from this we can determine or measure the strength of the electric field. So electric flux is the measure of the strength of electric field intensity. More is the flux, more is the intensity. Now if you get confused about this word electric flux, you keep on repeating like it is the number of field lines passing through the area held normal to the field. If it is in my hand, I will always held a area normal, and if the orientation is given, you have to consider theta between S vector and E vector. Here I have taken 3 different orientation and tried to explain you that the intensity will keep on decreasing because the orientation of the orientation of A vector or area vector, which here we are denoting by delta S, is changing. So the general formula for the electric flux, general formula delta phi is equal to E delta S cos theta. This is the general formula for the flux linked with area element. The flux linked with area element delta S vector. This is for a small element. If you want to find out the total flux, you do the summation of all these small area elements, and if delta S tends to 0, then you do the integration of this equation. Now there is a cos theta, so more generally I can write delta phi is equal to E dot delta S vector. So electric flux is nothing but a dot product or a scalar product of electric field intensity and the area vector. Now SI unit. So SI unit, the unit of electric field is Newton per Coulomb, and area it is meter square. Also the electric field intensity unit we will see in second chapter is volt per meter. So volt per meter multiplied by meter square, it becomes volt meter. So these are the two SI units. Also, since it is a number or it is a dot product, so electric flux is scalar quantity. Dimensional formula. So for Newton, I write m1 L1 T minus 2. For meter square, I write L square upon Coulomb. For that, I write A1 T1. So the dimensional formula becomes m1 L3 T minus 3 and A minus 1. So this is the dimensional formula of the electric flux. And since it depends on theta, cos function can be positive, negative or 0. So again, if first case, if theta is equal to 0 or greater than 0 but less than 90 degree, then then delta phi is positive. Similarly, if theta is equal to pi by 2 or 90, then delta flux is 0. So if our orientation changes, the flux also changes. Similarly, if theta is less than equal to 180 degree but greater than 90 degree, then delta flux or delta phi is negative. So this is the electric flux linked with the plane surface or a area which is held normal. Generally we held a area vector normal to the field lines, but you have to remember, if the orientation changes, the flux linked with the surface will also change. Now this is for the uniform electric field. We have considered the field to be uniform. We have drawn the field lines equidistant and parallel to each other. Now there are another possibilities also. It may be possible that the field is not uniform, or the surface which we have taken, for example, we have taken the surface to be rectangle, but if we take a surface which is irregular, say, and the field is also non-uniform. Now non-uniform electric field is denoted by curved lines. They are not equidistant and parallel. So this surface that is non-uniform, the field line is not non-uniform. So how will you find out the electric flux in this case? So the first step is divide the entire surface into small elements. These are the elements, small surface. You consider any one element which we have referred as an area element earlier also. So if I take, let us take this area element. If I take this as an area element, the field passing, and it's normal, this is the normal, say delta S. So if I consider this as an area element, it like this. If I draw a small element like this, we know the area vector should be normal to the surface. So this is normal to the surface, and the field through this is drawn like this. Now this is clearly the angle between E vector and delta S vector. So for small this area element, again delta phi can be written as E dot delta S. This is for small element. We assume, remember, we assume this element to be so small that the field almost becomes uniform. Now field becomes uniform matlab the line should be straight within that area element. वो line straight रहनी चाहिए इसके अंदर. So area electric field, the elements are made in such a way that the field is almost uniform. So if I have this surface, this is a regular shape. How to make a elements? Just divide this into different parts. So this is one element is this. Now if I take this element as drawn on the board, the area vector will be coming outward. Now if I take the field to be uniform, this should be so small that the field line, suppose this is the field line should become almost straight. So field is assumed to be uniform if limit delta S tends to 0. So this is the flux linked with a small element. Now again find this, let us say this is phi 1. Now if I take this element delta phi 2, then third element delta phi 3. So what will be the total flux? So total flux will be simply the summation of the flux linked with the element delta phi I, where I is running from 1 to n. We do the summation of all this. And if limit delta S tends to 0, then the flux linked with the entire surface can be surface integration of the electric field intensity. This is a surface integration. So if area element is very small, that is limit delta S tends to 0, then the total flux linked with the closed surface will be the surface integration of electric field intensity taken over the closed surface. And if the elements are not infinite, then we can do the summation. And if delta S tends to 0 and area elements number tends to infinite. So it is understood that if these area elements are very, very small, then the number will increase. So it is not possible to find out the flux linked with each element. In this case, we will do the integration of that electric field intensity over the closed surface. So what should we conclude from all this discussion? Let us define the electric flux more properly. The electric flux linked with a plane is a number of field lines passing through unit area held normal to electric field. So electric flux linked with a plane or plane sheet or a surface is a number of field lines passing through a unit area held normal. So if it is in my hand, I will held a unit area normal. Otherwise, the area can be oriented in any direction. When it makes an angle theta, you have to consider that angle. And if you are keeping this plane, or if you are if you held this unit area normal, then area vector will always comes in the direction of the electric field intensity, that is theta becomes 0. Remember, theta is angle between E vector and delta S vector. So for a small area element, the electric flux is E dot delta S, which is E delta S cos theta. If you want to find out the total, you do the summation of all the elements or you do the integration. So this is for a plane surface, number of the field lines passing through unit area. And what this number of field lines gives? It gives, or electric flux is the measure of strength of electric field. It is the measure of the strength of electric field. More is the electric flux, more is the strength of the electric field. So this also give the strength of the field. Flux is simple scalar quantity, it is a number only. So this is the definition for electric flux associated with a plane surface. Now let us consider a closed surface. Now when I say a closed surface, it should be a three-dimensional figure. So if I consider one sphere, let us consider this is an hollow sphere and plus two charges enclosed in it. So if you remember, the electric field lines was drawn like this. The field lines was radially outward. So this was arrow, then the length of the arrow decreases, और ऐसे समझाया था बड़ी एरो छोटी एरो, the field is spherical. Now I have considered one sphere and plus q charges enclosed in it. So the field lines are emerging from this closed surface. In this situation, the flux is positive. Now we are finding the flux for a closed surface, a three-dimensional figure, not for a plane sheet or a plane surface. Similarly, if a negative charge is enclosed in the sphere, all the field lines will enter in it. What are the field lines? Field line is a pictorial representation or a path followed by a test charge if it is allowed to move freely. In this case, the flux is negative. So if positive charge is enclosed in the closed surface, the field lines will emerge out, so flux is positive. If negative charge is enclosed, now this is a hollow sphere, say, then the flux is negative. Similarly, suppose any closed surface, say a cylinder, is kept inside the field line. This is a cylinder placed in a electric field line. Now what will be the flux in this case? So we can prove this also, but you can understand like this. One field line is entering from this cross section and that one line is emerging from the other side, and therefore the flux in this case is 0. The earlier portion which I explained was for a plane sheets or two-dimensional or a surface only. Now this is for a closed surface or a three-dimensional bodies. So see three different situations. There we were saying the flux can be positive, negative or 0 depending upon theta. Here we are trying to understand it in the terms of the field line. So if there is a plus charge enclosed in any closed surface, say hollow sphere or a cubical box, then the flux is positive. If negative charge is enclosed, the flux is negative. But if a closed surface, any closed surface, here I have taken it to be a cylinder, then the flux is 0. Now let us see this case, how this flux is 0. Similarly, it is not necessary that I draw a cylinder only. If plus charge Q is here and if I draw a closed surface near it, this is a closed surface, means a three-dimensional any sphere, then the field lines entering from one surface will be emerging out from the other side. So again the flux will be 0. So this we can prove very easily by the definition of a flux. Now let us see a cylinder portion. Now this cylinder portion is made up of three parts. Now this portion is generally referred as the curved surface of a cylinder. This is the curved surface of a cylinder, and this is, we know that it is a cross section. So cylinder consists of two cross section and a curved surface. The cylinder is made up of like this. So if R is the radius and say the length of the cylinder is L, so we have a two cross sections. So area of this cross section pi r square, area of this cross section pi r square, and the area of the curved surface is 2 pi r L. So if I do the summation, the total area becomes 2 pi r square plus 2 pi r L, that is equal to 2 pi r common, r plus L or h. If you keep it vertical, we call it a height, and if you are keeping it horizontal, we are calling it a length. In any case, we have a formula 2 pi r, r plus h or L. This you already know. So this is the area of a cylinder. Now how the flux linked with this cylinder is 0? Let us prove that. So cylinder consists of three parts, two cross section and one curved surface. Again, we are taking the field lines along the x-axis. Field lines are equidistant and parallel to each other, so uniform field line. Now I place a cylinder. Now this is a cylinder. It is made up of 3 parts. Now let us consider a small element of this. This is a small element, delta S. So this is delta S vector. Field is along the x-axis. For this cross section, this is an area element and it should be opposite to this. This is delta S. So this cross section is made up of number of small elements like this. This is one small element. This is how we draw the small elements of the cross section. I have considered one cross section. So if I consider the cross section of a cylinder, let this be the cross section of a cylinder. This is the cross section of a cylinder. Now if I say what is the area vector, it should be radially outward. So this is radially outward, this side, opposite to the field. And for this, area vector is this side. Now for the curved surface, how this curved surface elements can be made? It can be made like this. These are called area elements. Divide the entire portion into small elements. This is. So if I consider this one small element, area vector is along the y-axis. So now this 3 portion we have for a cylinder. Let the flux associated with this cross section is delta phi 1. So this can be written as per our definition, E dot delta S vector. This is equal to, now what is the angle between E vector? E vector is along x-axis. Delta is along negative x-axis. So this can be written as E delta S cos of 180 degree. Similarly, let the flux associated with the curved surface is denoted by delta phi 2. So angle, electric field is along x-axis. Area vector, delta S vector is along y-axis. So angle becomes E delta S cos of 90 degree. And the flux associated with this small element delta phi 3 is E delta S cos of 0. So we have divided the cylinder into 3 parts, 2 cross section and 1 curved surface. Then we have taken the small elements of this. These are the elements. These are called area elements denoted by delta S. Area element. Now see the total flux. So if we do the total of this, it comes out to be minus E delta S. This comes out to be 0 and this comes out to be E delta S. Now what is the total flux? So phi is equal to delta phi 1 plus delta phi 2 plus delta phi 3. Now what is delta phi 1? That is minus E delta S plus 0 plus E delta S. E delta S minus E delta cancelled. So the total flux comes out to be 0. So this is if any closed surface is placed in a field, the flux linked with it is 0. Why? Because whatever number of field lines enter from one surface, the same number of field lines emerge from the other side. So you can say like this also. So this is the electric flux linked with the closed surface. Now if there are infinite area element, the total flux is denoted by E dot delta S, and this is a surface integration. So there are different ways. If I am considering a plane surface or a planar sheet or 2-dimensional figure like a rectangle or a square, then the flux can be written as E S cos of theta. This is a total flux. Or delta phi can be written as E delta S cos theta, where S is a surface area. If I am considering the closed surface like a cylinder, sphere, a cube is also placed, then the electric flux is equal to the surface integration of electric field intensity taken over the closed surface. So we have divided the flux into two parts. One part was for plane sheet, other was for a closed surface. So for a closed surface, the electric flux is equal to surface integration of electric field intensity taken over the closed surface. This area element should be as small as possible. So if you have divided the entire surface into a small elements, the number will be infinite. And if the number is infinite, even if the field is non-uniform, it becomes uniform for all the area elements, and you have to do the integration with respect to the area or the surface. So this is the electric flux associated with the plane sheet. That was our earlier portion where we have held the plane sheet normal to the field lines, and we have changed the orientation like this or upward anywhere where theta was changed. And in the second part, we have seen the electric flux associated with a closed surface. So this is what we have for electric flux.